Welcome back, everybody. Today on our 3PR series, I'm going to go through a P. We're going to go through a pattern, and we've talked and defined our 3 Ps: our pattern, our position, and our posture. And now I want to get a little specific. I want to dive into some specifics about a specific pattern that we see, and it's called, in the world of posture restoration, a left AIC pattern. And what is a left AIC pattern? If we went and asked PRI people or therapists, they can explain this pattern in a lot of different ways to people. But the way we use the terminology sometimes gets a little bit fuzzy, and I wanted to kind of just tease out some things of what we would say when we talk about a left AIC pattern. So a left AIC pattern, if I had a patient I was saying that I was teaching about this pattern to, I would say, this is a right versus a left imbalance. It says our bodies tend to want to orient or gravitate over to the right side. I'm going to probably link either Lori's description of it. Lori's one of our PTs here who also teaches with PRI. She did a whole video on the left AIC pattern. Or I might interject some clips of Lori going over that as we go through this pattern here. But the left AIC pattern can be described in lots of ways. If we're talking about the position that your pelvis gets into, a lot of people would describe a left AIC pattern as a left pelvis that wants to go forward or a right pelvis that wants to go back, that takes your spine and orients it or points it over to the right. So as that left pelvis goes forward, it has an impact on the alignment of the socket, the alignment of anything that attaches to it, including those hamstrings that attach to this butt bone. We've had some talk about position of hamstrings. So the position of this bone becomes more forwardly tipped on the left side compared to the right in a left AIC pattern. So if we want to talk about position of a pelvis in a left AIC pattern, it's left pelvis forward, right pelvis back, or oriented over to the right. Or what happens to the legs as they get shifted. This leg gets positioned more in a state of adduction. This leg gets shifted into more of a position of abduction. We get shifted over to the left. That's the position that our body gets into. And we can get excited about the position of the pelvis and the position of the leg bones. And we'll get more into the position issues as we go along, beyond just what's going on with that hamstring. But the position of that left AIC pattern is that pelvis going in this position. Well, what does that posture look like? Sometimes we'll discuss this as, well, the posture is I tend to want to put my center of gravity on my right leg more than I want to put my center of gravity on my left leg. So the posture is I'm over on my right side. And as I shift my weight to my right side, the position of the pelvis assumes that position. My legs have to do different things. My pelvis gets shifted. And then I have to figure out how to compensate. That position and that posture is good, as Lori would describe, in the right half of walking. It shouldn't be that way in the left half of walking, but in the right half of the walking it should. The problem is when that gets stuck. So there's lots of people that are going to potentially try to fix the position of your pelvis, right? You could see a chiropractor that says, hey, your pelvis is out of alignment. Let's line it back up again. We're going to treat the position of the pelvis. I think that's a good idea, right? I think that's an issue. Some people say, hey, you spend way too much time on your right leg. We should practice balancing on the left side. I can tell you're really dominant and strong on one side. Let's work on your posture, and let's see if we can get you, instead of feeling like you're sunk onto one side, you're more in the middle. You have good posture that way. There's a lot of therapists and people that think about posture. Again, both those things are good. What the difference with the left AIC pattern is, it's the actual description of why we end up in those positions and patterns. And that has to do with, I'm going to link Lori's thing, a lot of asymmetries in the way that we're wired and the way we're built. We have this cool thing called the liver on your right side that we don't have on the left side. We have this cool thing called on a heart on your left side we don't have on the right side. Right? There's muscle attachments that are different. We could dig into those minutiae of that, but those things about the way that you're built, the way you function, and the way that we're wired are the reasons why we assume the positions and the postures that we do. So the left AIC pattern is an asymmetrical pattern, an asymmetrical makeup of how we're built, how we're wired, how we're function, how we process information around us, that we could dive into each of those little things that describes why our bodies get into the postures and the patterns and the positions that they do. So the position is the actual where the bones are. The posture is kind of an overall description of where we're at, but the pattern is the why. And once you understand the why, when we know why your body wants to get into that position, which may be because of the way you feel your feet, maybe because of the way you see the world with your eyes, we can jump down all those why rabbit holes. It's going to give you a much better ability to treat the position of the pelvis and the posture that you're in, because just treating the posture and the position without understanding the why you're there in the first place often leads to limited results. So what makes PRI unique, what makes the Huroska Clinic unique, what makes anybody who does posture restoration unique is that they have a framework called a pattern that gives them the why behind the positions and the postures that they see. So I hope that made sense. There may be some interjecting of some videos in there along the way, or here I'll definitely be linking Lori's video of what she did. So if you have questions, certainly don't hesitate to contact me. However it's been described to you, just don't get caught up in the minutia of the position or the posture without really making sure we understand the why it's there in the beginning. All right, thanks a bunch. Have a great day.